When a cruel son decided to mercilessly attack his elderly and ill father, no one could believe what they were seeing. But when an eagle appeared, everyone was shocked to their cores by what they saw. Zhang Bo stepped towards his father angrily, ready to take action if he needed to. He was clearly very irritated and dissatisfied, but his father was standing firm, and it seemed as if his mind was already made up and could not be changed. The two of them had not had a very close relationship over recent years, but Zhang always thought he would be able to rely on his son, Zhang Bo, whenever he needed him. But as Zhang Bo pulled his fist back, ready to strike his old father, an eagle swooped down seemingly out of nowhere and did something that left both father and son in shock. However, Zhang quickly realized that he should have never doubted that his only true friend would come to his aid in his moment of need. After all, this is exactly what he'd done for it. And as he watched the scene unfolding in front of him with bated breath and eyes full of tears, he found himself reminiscing about the time he'd first met what would become a loving substitute for his son. Zhang had led a challenging and tumultuous life. He had experienced the heart-wrenching loss of his beloved wife, leaving him to raise both his son, Zhang Bo, and his daughter single-handedly. Filled with compassion for his motherless children, Zhang spoiled them to compensate for their unfortunate circumstances. However, little did he know that this unintentional pampering would sow the seeds of disaster in his son's path. Zhang had great expectations for Zhang Bo, naming him after himself, hoping he would grow up to be intelligent and clever. Nevertheless, as time passed, it became increasingly evident that his son possessed little interest in academics. At an early age, Zhang Bo made the decision to drop out of school, disregarding education and preferring to indulge in his own desires. His actions became progressively more troubling and selfish, engaging in fights, theft, and behaviors that brought immense shame upon his family. These antics stood in stark contrast to Zhang's compassionate and caring daughter, who exemplified kindness and consideration towards others. Eventually, Zhang's daughter pursued higher education and ventured off to university, while his son relocated to a distant city, severing the familial ties that bound them together. This left Zhang feeling incredibly alone, grappling with overwhelming loneliness. Sure, he wasn't close with his son, but a part of him missed him. This longing only got worse as Zhang started to fall ill, feeling weak and tired all of the time. Zhang found solace in taking long walks amidst the serene countryside. The fresh air also helped him feel better when he was at his most poorly. But it was during one of these steady walks in the countryside that Zhang stumbled upon an injured eagle with damaged wings. It lay at the base of a tree, trying its best to fly, but clearly in a lot of distress. Filled with concern and a natural inclination to help, Zhang cautiously scooped up the mighty bird and carried it home. Luckily, the eagle didn't struggle, as if it knew the old man was there to help. Over the course of the next several hours, Zhang gently and meticulously tended to the eagle's injuries, carefully cleaning and dressing them to prevent infection. Thankfully, it didn't seem like anything was broken or damaged beyond repair. But what was for certain was that the eagle would be flying nowhere for quite some time. So, he made sure to provide ample sustenance, regularly feeding the magnificent bird with what food and water he could find. Recognizing the eagle's incapability to fly, Zhang transformed a cozy room in his house into a warm and nurturing sanctuary for the bird, complete with soft bedding and a tranquil environment where the bird could relax and recuperate. To combat the eagle's loneliness, Zhang would sit in the eagle's room every single day and talk to the creature, telling it about his feelings or what was going on in the world. Of course, the bird didn't understand what was being said, but it sat and attentively looked at him as if it was taking in the information. Astonishingly, a deep and unexplainable bond formed between Zhang and the eagle, bringing a renewed sense of purpose and fulfillment to the old man's life, especially in his elderly years when he was feeling tired, ill, and weak. As weeks passed, the eagle's injuries began to heal remarkably, giving it the chance to return to its natural habitat. However, against all expectations, the bird chose to remain in the vicinity of Zhang's house, astonishing everyone who witnessed this incredible phenomenon. It would circle overhead all day long and visit Zhang religiously, seeking food and companionship. It was as if it was unable to resist the profound connection they had formed. Their extraordinary bond went beyond the limits of what many thought was possible. However, one day, the captivating story of Zhang and the eagle took an unexpected and terrifying twist. As the old man sat on his front porch, taking in the fresh air, greeting passing villagers, and engrossed in his book, he glanced up to witness a figure he thought he would never see again: his estranged son, Zhang Bo. Zhang Bo proclaimed that he had returned home to announce his engagement to a woman from a wealthy family in another city. Although they had grown distant over the years, Zhang's heart brimmed with joy upon hearing the news. Eager to learn more about his son's life, he eagerly inquired about the details. Yet, Zhang Bo's responses seemed suspicious and vague. He explained that he needed money to prove his worth to the prestigious family he sought to join. Reluctant to support a son who had failed to make wise decisions in life, Zhang struggled internally. However, in the end, he realized that family mattered above all else. So, he rose and entered the house, retrieving a small sum of money he had carefully saved. Displaying indifference towards this modest offering, Zhang Bo scorned the amount, telling his father that it wasn't nearly enough to impress the family of his fiancée. Disheartened, Zhang slowly returned the money to his pocket. Suddenly, a harsh and sad realization washed over Zhang. His son was only interested in exploiting him. Summoning his courage, he ordered Zhang Bo to leave, unwilling to be manipulated by his ungrateful son anymore. Angry and desperate, Zhang Bo menacingly approached his vulnerable father, poised to forcefully take whatever he desired. In this terrifying moment, a piercing shriek suddenly filled the air. Out of nowhere, the eagle swooped down, its beak and claws fiercely attacking Zhang Bo, diverting his attention from his aging father, who fell back into his chair. The villagers stood, mouths agape, witnessing this astonishing scene unfold before their eyes. Zhang Bo thrashed his arms, screaming at his father in outrage, yet Zhang remained silent. Although it pained him to admit it, Zhang Bo needed to learn a life-altering lesson, one that would transform his reckless and selfish demeanor. If this was that lesson, then so be it. With one last furious look at his father, Zhang Bo turned and fled, never to be seen again. The following day, Zhang's daughter arrived at the house, determined to ensure her father no longer experienced the affliction of loneliness during his twilight years. She had heard the story of what had happened with Zhang Bo, and that was enough to make her worried. Insisting that her father come and live with her, she expressed her concern and love for him. Zhang was hesitant, but he ultimately agreed, under one condition: the eagle had to accompany him. In Zhang's eyes, the bird had become his guardian angel, a protector, and a symbol of the extraordinary bond that they had formed. They had protected each other in their times of need. Eager to keep his father happy and reassured, Zhang's daughter consented to the eagle's presence. From that day forward, Zhang, his daughter, and the eagle resided together, finding solace and companionship in their strangely unique family unit. The eagle remained a constant presence in Zhang's life, watching over him and offering comfort in his final years. Through the lessons learned from both his son's betrayal and the eagle's unwavering loyalty, Zhang came to understand the true essence of family and the importance of genuine love and compassion. In the twilight of his life, Zhang found solace, knowing that he was never truly alone, surrounded by the love and protection of his daughter and his remarkable guardian eagle. So, now it's over to you. What did you think of this incredible story? Have you ever heard of a man and an eagle being so close before? And how would you have reacted to seeing the eagle fly in to defend poor old Zhang? As always, we'd love to hear from you, so be sure to leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments section down below.